In Objective 2, we're using formulas to solve applications. So I want to go through some definitions here. A quantity is a defined numerical amount, the physical meaning of what the number represents. So again, we have these numbers, but every one of them has attached units to it, like 10 feet. It's not just the number 10, it actually has some meaning to it, what it actually represents. -5 degrees Fahrenheit. Yep, that's cold. Hopefully we won't see that until next semester, but or in a few months for sure. But 55 miles per hour, 18 years old. So anyway, a quantity is just a number that actually has a meaning, that has a unit attached to it, something of a meaning. A formula is an equation that relates two or more quantities. And we just saw that from before. We had a formula, and again, a lot of times we use letters to represent what the quantities are, like perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. That was the perimeter of a rectangle. D equals R times T. So distance equals rate times time. Again, these formulas you might recognize. If not, not a big deal. A lot of times in our algebra class, we just use general variables, but they do represent a relationship between two quantities, like 2x minus 3y equals 6. And again, a lot of times we work in math where x and y are just representing numbers on a number line, and they don't have a unit attached to them other than the distance from the location of the number with respect to 0. So x and y are just general variables used if we don't want to attach units or something to that. And then E equals mc squared. That's a pretty famous one. That's Einstein's theory of relativity. And energy equals mass times, and then c squared is actually, c represents the speed of light. So energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So with a relationship like this, we can kind of think that, well, for some given mass, if I multiply that by the speed of light squared, that has to equal, or that equals energy. And that must mean that energy is pretty dang big compared to the mass of an object, because I take the mass and multiply by the speed of light squared, which is huge. So there's a lot of energy in a little mass. That's kind of what that relationship is telling us. So when we talk about applications, an application is a problem about defined quantities. So anytime we're dealing with an application, it's just a formula where we know what the variables represent. The variables are representing defined quantities. So like this first one, how do we use formulas and algebra together, basically? So a lot of these formulas have been verified and tested, and the relationship between the two quantities are given. It's been proven. But C equals 5/9 times the quantity F minus 32. This is dealing with Celsius and Fahrenheit. So this is a relationship degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit. So how do we find C if F is 14 degrees? So again, when we do this, we have our formula, and we just plug in the value that's given and rewrite our formula. So C equals, this would be 5/9, and then in parentheses, well, F is 14. So I'm going to take that and plug in the number for F into the formula. And now I can just, in this case, this formula is solved for C, so I can just calculate the value. So in the parentheses is a factor. This is one term. So in the parentheses is a factor. I have 5/9. And then 14 and negative 32 is a negative 18. The 9, when I multiply this, the 9 can cancel with the negative 18, leaving negative 2. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, or C equals negative 10. So again, this is a formula. Instead of just leaving my answer like this, what I like to do is, because C represents a known quantity, then negative 10 actually has a unit. This is negative 10 degrees Celsius. So we always want to represent our answer in terms of the quantity definition. I don't want to leave just a number out there. I want to make sure I define it with what the quantity is representing. So can I find F if C is 100? And again, now I'm substituting 100 in for C. And the rest of the formula and I can take this and solve for F. Now, one of the things we think about in composition, and again, we know there's steps to solving, like here I could clear fractions, but I also understand that on the right side of the equation, this is one term and my factor of F minus 32. Could I just get rid of the factor of 5/9 first, right? And I can do that if I multiply the right side by 9/5. Therefore, I'd have to multiply the left side by 9/5. And the 9/5 will cancel with the 5/9. That's reciprocals. And I'm left with just F minus 32. And then on the left side, 5 goes into 100 with 20. And then 9 times 20 is 180. And then finally, to solve for F, I can add 32. And I get 212 equals F. Or, again, we want to represent this, the 212, and since it's solved for F, it's 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And I don't know if you recognize this relationship. This is actually one that's known. If I have 100 degrees Celsius, that actually is the same as 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you recognize this, this is the boiling point of water. So in Fahrenheit, it's 212 degrees, but in Celsius, it's 100 degrees. All right. So I'm going to stop there, and then I'll go. No, I'm not. I'll keep going. All right. A circular window has a diameter of 24 inches. How much weather stripping is needed to go around the perimeter of the window? Hint, the perimeter of the circle is called the circumference. The formula for the circumference of a circle is C equals 2 pi r. So the circular window, so here, again, I'm going to draw a circular window, and it has a diameter of 24 inches. So the diameter is represented by the distance through the center. So I know the diameter, and I might call that D, equals 24 inches. And in the formula, I'm trying to find the circumference. So I got the circumference equals 2 pi r. So in the formula, I need the r, which is the radius. And again, there's other ways I could do this. I could use a different formula. That's right, too. But the radius is the distance from the center to the edge. So r is actually half the diameter. So the radius would be 12 inches. All right, so to find the circumference, I'm just going to plug in 2 and then pi and then r, which is times 12. Now, the answer then, and this is pretty easy to calculate, I could leave in terms of pi, C equals 24 pi. And since this is a circumference, this would be 24 pi inches. Now, if we wanted to, this is in terms of pi, right? And a lot of times we leave answers in terms of pi. This is an exact answer. Because pi, we know, is an irrational number with infinite decimal places. So if we want to approximate, our answer, then what we do is we take 24 times an approximation for pi, and a lot of times they use 3.14 as an approximation for pi. And if I do that, I get then C is approximately equal to, if you take 24 times 3.14, you get 75.40 inches. And you notice the squiggly line here. This is an approximate value. And 24 pi inches would be an exact value. All right. Using a linear relationship. So fill in the missing quantities in the chart below. So now, again, this is something we'll do in the next chapter when we talk about graphing, but this is just a plain linear relationship. And what it wants you to do is basically just solve for the other variable. So again, here's my formula. And if I know x is 0, if I plug that value for x in the formula, I get y equals 1/3 times 0 minus 2. And this one I can actually solve for y pretty easily, or y equals -2. So if x is 0, y is -2. Now, if I want to do this a lot, then if I plug in 0 for y, what's x? And for this one, if you plug in 0 for y, I get 0 equals 1/3 x minus 2. And here I need to solve with some algebra. So I'll add 2 and add 2. I get 2 equals 1/3 x. And then multiplying or attaching a factor of 3 to cancel, multiplying by 3, I get 6 equals x. So in this case, this would be 6. So a lot of times if we're doing a lot of calculations, so we just use a chart to keep track of those calculations. So once you go through the next two and see if you get the right answer, then I'll come back and do those for you. So right now, pause the video, and then you can try filling in if x is 3, what's y, and if y is 2, what's x. All right, so when you plug in 3 for x, I did that over here. In the formula, I got y equals 1/3 times 3 minus 2. 1/3 times 3, they cancels, leaving a 1. So y equals 1 and -2, which is -1. So I just put that back in here. And then if y is 2, I had to put 2 on the left side here, equals 1/3 x minus 2. And again, I had to do some algebra. So I had to add 2 to both sides. I get 4 equals 1/3 x, multiplying by 3, I get 12 equals x. Okay, so again, this is just a general relationship. And here we did a bunch of calculations and finding values. Okay.